Hey everyone, today is day 23 of my Christmas advent calendar. Guess who found another gem? Am I the a-hole for being upset with my $150 engagement ring? It all depends what you and your boyfriend discussed beforehand. You should definitely have a conversation before the engagement. He should ask your opinions, what you like, so he can prepare well. But of course, what he could afford matters too, but let's get into the story specifics. My fiancé is quite well off. Then why would he buy you such a cheap engagement ring? I already can tell you are not the a-hole, but let's keep going. And while I don't make as much as him, I certainly would not be struggling on my own. He rotates between a few very expensive watches that he wears to work. And while we have a good grasp on financial literacy, we aren't shy about spending for the important parts of life. Interesting, so he's not the frugal type at all. We openly share finances, so I know he isn't secretly in debt or any such nonsense. The ring is nice and understated, but more of a nice stacker than an engagement ring to show off. The stone, which I'm doubtful of being a diamond, is quite small. It's not an heirloom. What people who are trying to propose need to understand is that buying an engagement ring is the most important piece of jewelry they're ever gonna buy in their lifetime. Since this is a ring your wife's gonna wear in their whole life, it is important to be durable so it can last that long. But also, to pick something that your partner would love. If you cannot afford diamond, moissanite is perfectly fine. What is important is that your partner is happy. When friends or family get engaged, there is always the excitement in sharing the news. And inevitably, someone will ask to see the ring, and then everyone coos over it, and it's a good time. When I showed mine, the mood got awkward, and they feigned excitement just long enough until it was okay to change the topic. This is not a knock on them, they are just terrible liars. Wasn't your fiancé embarrassed? I don't understand. If he's well off, what's going on here? I would like to make clear that I'm not expecting a 3-month salary ring or an over-the-top wedding. Most women just would like something they love and cherish. It's not really about the price, more like how well my fiancé knows me. However, this is a piece I will be wearing daily for decades, and it's largely considered a symbol of his love. I know not all feel this way, but we do, or at least I thought we did. I'm right there with you, OP. I already explained my take on this. But I really don't think I'm out of line of thinking of it as a long-term investment piece, given the amount of wear it will see and the sentimentality behind it. Surely, it is worth more than a gaming console. Am I the a-hole here? If you think about it rationally, you are replacing a gaming console in every few years. An engagement ring should last through all your lifetime. So, it definitely should be invested more than a gaming console's price. You also mentioned that your boyfriend is pretty well off. He likes to spend on expensive watches for himself, so he definitely values good quality jewelry. So, what's going on here? Something is definitely very weird. Edit. I'm getting a lot of the same questions, so I thought I would put the answers here. We had briefly talked about overall style, and he has access to my jewelry box to know the stuff I typically wear. If he's still unsure, he can always ask your friends or your mom. I'm sure they would be happy to help him out. As the price of the ring wasn't very important to me, the budget for it was never really discussed. Which I see as a mistake now, but I didn't realize that this could be a problem. Price is not important so much as I don't care if he spent $1,000 or $100,000 on it, but this ring looks cheap. It is not quality craftsmanship. The dampened excitement of showing off my ring was only one part of my post. The rest being that he's drastic lowball on a price I will be wearing every day for the rest of my life. Doesn't seem like the symbol of love one traditionally associates with engagement and wedding pieces. It's about having a very wealthy fiancé that invests more into the latest gaming console than he does a lifelong symbol of our love. To you, a ring might be just a ring, but unless otherwise discussed, it would be silly to assume it would be a throwaway item. In my culture, as well, the engagement ring is paired with the wedding band, not replaced. Exactly, this is why I said the engagement ring is the most important jewelry you ever gonna purchase in your life. If he likes to spend on luxury for himself, but cuts corners on something that's supposed to represent your lifetime commitment to each other, that says a lot. Why even propose or get married if you feel like that already? We share our finances and I saw the charge on the bank statement. If he paid in cash as well, then he overpaid. Given that he bought me more expensive jewelry in the past and sees what I wear on the regular basis, for him to lowball on important item this much seems pretty far out left field, and not something I would thought I would have needed to clarify with him even if we had a longer conversation about it. So he bought you jewelry in the past, he knows your taste. I don't know, the math ain't mathing here. Obviously, in hindsight, I should have. I think I'm more hurt with what it says to give your fiancé such a low price ring when money clearly isn't the issue than the fact that the ring itself was low budget. If we were worse off and $150 took effort to save for, I would be over the moon at what he got me and shoving it in everyone's face. However, this is not remotely the case. I completely agreed with her. It's about intention, not the price tag, and I'm super confused. What's going on here? He has gifted diamond studs and other fine jewelry before, and will splurge a bit more if it's something for the both of us, for example, a surprise getaway weekend for a holiday. He doesn't throw his money around needlessly, but he isn't stingy. To be blunt, it's a cheap ring, a look, and cost. Yes, he could have spent hours picking out the indie jeweler to get the ring that is nothing like what I have or have ever mentioned liking, in a much lower price bracket than we would ordinarily spend on just regular accessories. Even if he did, an engagement, it's not like a birthday or Valentine's Day. It would be a weird decision to decide right now that this time would be the right time to save money. However, I don't feel like I'm making a large leap in assuming he didn't. To me, this is about more than just the fact that he didn't get the exact style I had in mind. I also take exception to the people here acting like being unhappy with the ring means I'm unhappy with the engagement. Nowhere have I ever said this to be the case. Life isn't an all or nothing game. I can be unhappy with the ring while still being madly in love with my fiancé and thrilled to spend our lives together. We will be talking about this for sure, but I know this can be a touchy subject and wanted an objective eye on it first. I will update this post after the conversation. I don't really know what to think after the circumstances you just told us. What we know is that he bought you jewelry before and he knows what you like. He also can afford it. I don't think anyone would think that this would be the right time to try to save on a piece of jewelry right now. Thankfully, OP's already wrote an update, so we're just gonna get into it. Update. He came home and we were settling down, and around dinner, I started the conversation with, "Honey, I'd like to talk about the ring," and before I could finish, he just blew up. Started yelling, "Finally," and how I ruined everything by waiting so long. Huh? To be brief, he brought the ring from a jeweler who got bad reviews so that when I got upset over it, he could dump me under the guise that I was a gold digger. What the f***? There are easier ways to achieve a breakup. He has apparently been having an affair. Turns out, COVID had shortened his work hours, not extended. With a young model that he's earned, but knew that breaking things off when everyone loved me so much would hurt his optics, so he had to make it my fault. Honestly, that's shocking behavior. I would have never guessed this was going on in the background. This is just pure evil. He knew that leaving this pariah ship would gain him sympathy. And there was a lot of rhetoric that clearly wasn't his own words, but something he was parroting from what I highly suspect is from a much too influential work friend that I've had disagreements with in the past. Changes I had attributed to work stress are glaringly obvious to me now as symptoms of something more malicious under the surface, and I feel really ashamed I didn't see things more clearly earlier or wasn't somehow able to head things off before they got this far. I don't think you had any chance to see this beforehand. This thing is unheard of. And your ex is a monster to put you through this. Not only he cheated on you, he dangled a cheap ring in front of your nose, hoping that you would hate it and he could make you out to be the bad guy. I won't be sticking around to dig any deeper, But I know my ex-fiancé would not have done and said the things he did without being pushed from bad influences behind the scenes. This doesn't mean I forgive him. I think he's incredibly weak and feeble-minded for letting this happen to us. But I also doubt I will be contacting many of our mutual friends as the dust settles. For me, it doesn't really matter if it was outside influence or it was him. He still did this, something that is completely unforgivable. I'm glad you left him. That was the only way. I left in the middle of his tirade around the 15-minute mark and I'm staying with at my mother's. I haven't cried yet and I think I'm still waiting for it all to suddenly make sense. But I know logically it might not ever. Thank you to everyone who responded to my post and offered your thoughts. I don't think anyone could have predicted what was going to happen from the information I gave. I'm 100% sure nobody could guess this. On the plus side, if there is one, is that I don't have to wear the hideous ring anymore. It's insane how much was going on in the background without OP's knowledge. But thankfully she's out now and she doesn't have to wear the hideous ring. I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you did, please subscribe and see you tomorrow.